Hello friends. Have you ever wondered what it truly feels like to love a Pisces, or to be loved by one? Imagine diving into an ocean at night, where the water glows with mysterious light, every wave carrying both tenderness and intensity. That's Pisces in love, a mixture of magic, depth, and vulnerability that feels both enchanting and overwhelming. Today, let's take a long journey into the heart of Pisces and uncover what makes them extraordinary lovers, partners, and dreamers. The passionate flame in love. At first glance, Pisces may not appear like the fiery lovers of the Zodiac. They don't charge forward like Aries, demanding immediate recognition, nor do they roar with drama like Leo, painting the skies with their blazing declarations. Instead, their flame burns differently. It doesn't flash, it doesn't scream, and it doesn't blind. It glows steadily, softly, yet with an intensity that creeps beneath the skin and touches the deepest parts of the heart. To love a Pisces is to discover that fire doesn't always announce itself with sparks. It sometimes lingers like embers that never die, illuminating the dark with a kind of soulful warmth that feels almost otherworldly. This flame is not about temporary fireworks or fleeting thrills. Pisces is not interested in surface-level passion that flickers for a moment and disappears with the wind. Their passion is quieter but infinitely more enduring. It is about igniting something inside of you, something you may not have even known existed. They don't simply fall in love with the outer shell. They fall in love with the essence, with the soul beneath the layers, with the secret corners of your being you've long forgotten or perhaps never dared to explore. That's what makes their passion so powerful. It is not content with what is obvious, it searches for what is hidden. Pisces loves in a way that is deeply immersive. To them, love is not a part of life, not an addition, not a side story, it is life. Everything else bends around it. When they fall completely, with no exit strategy, no safety net, no hesitation. Their emotions merge so fully with the one they love that the boundary between you and me becomes faint, blurred, almost non-existent. This merging can be intoxicating. To be loved by a Pisces is to be seen not only for who you are but also for who you might become. They imagine, they dream, they weave scenarios where your love is eternal and untouched by the chaos of the outside world. Their passion is always tied to imagination. A Pisces in love lives partly in reality and partly in dreams. They will sit quietly beside you and yet, in their mind, they are already writing poetry about your smile, scripting scenes where you walk hand in hand beneath invisible stars, imagining 1,000 versions of your future together. They can build entire worlds out of a single glance you give them. Empathy drives this passion too. They don't just love you, they feel you. They absorb your emotions, echo your joys, and carry your pain as though it were their own. Their desire is not simply to be close but to dissolve the space between you, to feel connected in ways that transcend the physical. When a Pisces falls in love, they often do so with their entire being. There is no half measure. They give themselves as if love were their only language. They can adore you in silence, nurturing secret feelings like fragile plants hidden in the corners of their heart. Sometimes they fall before they're even ready to admit it, holding on to the sweetness of unspoken affection, waiting until the moment feels safe enough to reveal itself. In this way, Pisces often loves before they are loved back, creating an invisible thread of devotion that binds them to you long before you even realize it exists. And what a devotion it is! Pisces can carry your wounds in their hands like sacred objects, constantly searching for ways to heal, soothe, and protect. They imagine not only being your lover but also your comfort, your home, your safe harbor when the storms of life rage outside. Their instinct is to shelter you, even at the expense of their own comfort. This is where their passion shows itself most clearly, not in grand, showy gestures, but in quiet acts of care that weave themselves into everyday life. But passion, for Pisces, is never just romance. It is also sacrifice. Their love comes with an instinctive willingness to give, to bend, to compromise, sometimes more than they should. They will walk the extra mile to make their partner feel understood, even if it means they themselves go unheard. They will offer endless patience, forgiveness, and compassion, even when their own needs remain unspoken. This devotion can feel like sanctuary, like being wrapped in a warmth that never fades. With Pisces, love is not just companionship. It becomes a refuge, a space where you feel held in ways the outside world cannot provide. Yet, as with any flame, the same qualities that make Pisces' love extraordinary can also consume them. Their passion, so boundless and selfless, can tip into self-sacrifice. They may give and give until they are drained, expecting nothing in return until the imbalance begins to weigh on them. They can forget their own needs in the process of caring for others, mistaking unconditional love for an absence of boundaries. When their devotion is not met with reciprocity, their flame risks turning inward, burning them quietly from within. Still, even in this, Pisces' love remains unique. Unlike fleeting romances that wither under the strain of unmet expectations, their passion doesn't vanish, it transforms. Even when hurt, they continue to dream, to hope, to imagine ways love can be healed or reborn. Their capacity to forgive, to see the good in others, is not a weakness but a testament to the depth of their heart. To them, love is worth the risk, worth the pain, worth the endless vulnerability it demands. And perhaps this is why the flame of Pisces is unlike any other. It may not blaze in the ways we are accustomed to seeing. It may not announce itself with noise or drama, but it endures. It glows with a light that softens the hardest edges of the world, reminding us that true passion is not always loud, but it is always profound. To love Pisces, or to be loved by one, is to experience fire in water, to feel the warmth of a flame that both soothes and transforms, that consumes but also heals, that burns not to destroy but to illuminate. It is to discover that love, at its most powerful, is not a fleeting spark but a constant glow, steady and eternal, deep in the heart of the ocean. And now, a little side note. If you'd like to support the channel, there's a thanks button right under this video, or through the donation alerts link in the description. Your support truly helps me keep creating. And of course, if you enjoy the content, please leave a like and subscribe so you won't miss what's coming next. Thank you so much for being here. Now, let's continue. The boldness and honesty in relationships. You might not instantly think of Pisces as bold. They don't stride into a room with the kind of commanding presence that demands attention, nor do they take reckless risks simply to prove their courage. On the surface, Pisces is gentle, often reserved, sometimes even shy, a soul that prefers to watch before speaking, to feel before acting. Yet love has a way of unlocking a side of Pisces that surprises even themselves. When the energy of love surrounds them, their heart expands and their spirit dares in ways that defy appearances. Their boldness is subtle, not flamboyant. It doesn't explode in public declarations or risky stunts, but it shows itself in something far rarer, emotional bravery. For Pisces, boldness isn't about climbing mountains or rushing headlong into the unknown without fear. It is about the courage to face what most people avoid, intimacy without shields. Imagine telling someone the truth about your deepest fears, the ones that keep you up at night and make your heart tremble. Imagine revealing the fragile dreams you scarcely admit even to yourself, the tender hopes you guard from judgment, the mistakes you've buried beneath years of silence. This is where Pisces shines. They dare to open the doors others keep locked, stepping into love with a willingness to bare their soul in all its imperfection. Vulnerability becomes their superpower, and that willingness to be known completely is the purest form of boldness. When a Pisces loves, they trust their partner with the most delicate parts of themselves. They hand over their insecurities, their doubts, and their secret longings, not because they are careless, but because they believe love is meaningless without this kind of openness. And in doing so, they invite their partner into a space that feels sacred, an intimacy so profound that it transforms both people involved. This quiet courage is often overlooked in a world that celebrates louder, more dramatic forms of boldness. Yet there is nothing more daring than saying, "Here I am, completely, without disguise. Will you still love me?" Pisces also understands that boldness is not one-sided. They don't only reveal themselves, they encourage their partner to do the same. They ask questions that pierce beneath the surface, not out of curiosity but out of a genuine desire to know the real person behind the practiced smile. They create an atmosphere of trust where truth feels safe to emerge. That's part of the magic of Pisces. They give you permission to take off your own mask, simply because they've already removed theirs. And then comes honesty, the twin flame of their boldness. For all their dreamy nature, Pisces has a surprising devotion to truth once they commit themselves. They know that a relationship built on half-truths or illusions is destined to crack under its own weight. While Pisces is often accused of escaping reality, when love is on the line, reality becomes their anchor. They would rather reveal an uncomfortable truth than build a false paradise. They may hesitate, they may struggle to find the right words, but they do not believe in deception. Love, to them, cannot survive without honesty. It would be a shadow of itself, an illusion that eventually dissolves in disappointment. Of course, Pisces delivers truth in their own way. Unlike signs that confront with blunt edges, Pisces instinctively softens their words. Their honesty does not slash or wound. Instead, it is like water shaping stone, gentle, deliberate, but impossible to resist. They cushion honesty with compassion, ensuring that even difficult truths are spoken with empathy. They believe words have the power to heal as well as harm, so their truth is always laced with care. This doesn't mean they avoid difficult conversations. Rather, they approach them with tenderness, as though handling something fragile yet necessary. And here lies another form of boldness. Pisces is not afraid to say, "I was wrong." They admit mistakes, expose flaws, and acknowledge shortcomings because they understand that honesty is not about perfection, it's about trust. Their vulnerability is not only in sharing dreams but also in confessing when they've failed. This humility is another kind of courage, one that strengthens bonds instead of weakening them. In a world where many cling to pride, Pisces' willingness to be transparent is a refreshing reminder that love is built on truth, not ego. This honesty also reveals itself in the way Pisces loves without pretense. They do not need to create elaborate performances to prove their affection. They do not hide behind grand illusions of what love should look like. Their love is raw, direct in its tenderness, and often disarmingly pure. When a Pisces looks at you with love, there is no calculation, no ulterior motive, no hidden agenda. They simply love you, fully and without disguise. And that kind of honesty, love stripped of games and expectations, is one of the rarest treasures in human connection. At its core, Pisces' boldness is not about being fearless but about being willing. Willing to risk rejection by revealing their soul, willing to speak truths even when they tremble, willing to trust that love, if real, will hold them gently. Their honesty is not cold or cruel but illuminated by compassion, a truth that brings people closer instead of pushing them apart. Together, these qualities make Pisces one of the most quietly courageous lovers of the zodiac. The joy and challenges of loving. So what's it really like to love a Pisces, or to be loved by one? To begin with, it feels a little like stepping into a dream you didn't know you needed, a world where tenderness is constant, where you are not just seen but felt. On the joyful side, Pisces love is a balm, a warm blanket on a cold night, a soft hand reaching out when the world feels harsh. They are intuitive in ways that sometimes feel otherworldly, noticing your moods before you have even named them yourself. That ability to read emotional energy makes them one of the most attentive and compassionate partners in the zodiac. They don't just hear your words, they listen to your silences. They don't just watch your actions, they understand the emotions beneath them. Loving a Pisces is like being mirrored back to yourself in the gentlest, most forgiving way. They are the kind of partner who will stay up until dawn listening to your late-night worries, never once making you feel like a burden. They will celebrate your smallest victories with the same enthusiasm as your biggest triumphs, because to them, your happiness is their happiness. When life wears you down, Pisces has a way of creating little pockets of joy, secret worlds where you can escape together, where laughter, imagination, and tenderness become your shared reality. These worlds can be as simple as a cozy evening filled with music, or as elaborate as a vision of the life you could build together. In their presence, you feel cherished not only for what you do but for who you are. The joy of loving Pisces is also in the creativity they bring to relationships. Their imagination doesn't just fuel their inner world, it spills into how they express affection. Love notes tucked into books, songs written in your honor, whimsical surprises planned with care. Pisces finds ways to keep romance alive through artistry and fantasy. They transform ordinary days into experiences that shimmer with meaning. To be loved by them is to be invited into a narrative that feels larger than life, yet deeply personal. But every great gift comes with its shadows, and Pisces love is no exception. Their idealism, while beautiful, can sometimes cloud their perception. They fall in love not only with who you are but with who they hope you will be, with the potential they see shimmering in the distance. This can create expectations so high that no human being could ever fully embody them. The reality of daily life, with its flaws, routines, and imperfections, sometimes crashes against the fantasy Pisces builds, and when that happens, disappointment follows. The challenge for both Pisces and their partner is to bridge the gap between dream and reality, to ground love without extinguishing its magic. Another challenge lies in Pisces' extraordinary empathy. They don't just sympathize with your pain, they inhabit it. If you are hurting, they feel it in their bones as though it were their own suffering. This quality can make them incredibly supportive and deeply connected, but it can also be overwhelming. Pisces may become so entangled in their partner's emotions that they lose track of their own, blurring the line between where one person ends and the other begins. The result can be emotional exhaustion, confusion, or even a quiet erosion of their own sense of self. They must learn, often the hard way, how to set boundaries without shutting off the very empathy that makes them so loving. And then there is the famous Pisces escape mechanism. When conflicts grow too heavy, when reality feels unbearably sharp, Pisces may retreat, not in anger, but in self-preservation. They disappear into daydreams, into art, into music, into silence. Sometimes they physically withdraw, needing solitude to restore their spirit. Their partner might misinterpret this as coldness or detachment, when in truth it is Pisces' way of surviving the intensity of emotions they feel so acutely. They are not running away from love, they are simply trying to catch their breath in a world that often overwhelms them. The joy and challenge of loving Pisces is therefore a paradox. On one hand, you gain a partner who will cherish you, dream with you, nurture you, and believe in your soul with a devotion that feels like destiny. On the other hand, you must be prepared for the moments when their idealism collides with reality, when their empathy drains them, or when their need for retreat feels like abandonment. To love Pisces is to embrace both the magic and the mystery, the light and the shadow, the dream and the difficulty. And yet, many would argue that the rewards far outweigh the struggles. Because even in their challenges, Pisces offers something rare. A love that is alive, vulnerable, and unguarded. A love that dares to feel everything, even when it hurts. A love that sees you not only as you are but as the fullest version of yourself. To be loved by a Pisces is to be invited into the deepest waters of intimacy, where joy and challenge intertwine, and where, if you are willing to swim with them, you may discover a connection that changes you forever. Zodiac signs that harmonize in love. Certain signs in the zodiac seem to flow with Pisces energy so naturally that their connection feels more like destiny than coincidence. These are the partnerships where love doesn't feel like an uphill battle but like a river that moves effortlessly toward the sea. When Pisces encounters these signs, something clicks, an alignment of emotions, values, and unspoken understanding. These harmonies don't always look the same, but each has the potential to create a relationship where both people feel more whole, more seen, and more alive. Let's begin with the water signs, Cancer and Scorpio. These relationships are often described as soul deep, because when Pisces meets another water sign, they meet someone who speaks their emotional language without translation. With Cancer, Pisces finds a nurturing partner who provides the kind of steady, protective love that feels like home. Cancer has an instinct for creating safe emotional havens, and Pisces flourishes in that environment, allowing their tender and imaginative nature to blossom. Together, they form a bond rooted in care, comfort, and mutual sensitivity. Cancer senses when Pisces needs reassurance, while Pisces intuitively knows how to soothe Cancer's anxieties. The result is a partnership that feels like a sanctuary in a chaotic world. Scorpio, on the other hand, offers Pisces intensity and loyalty that can be both exhilarating and grounding. Scorpio's passion is magnetic, and Pisces, drawn to depth, is irresistibly captivated by the Scorpion's unwavering devotion. Where Pisces sometimes drifts into fantasies, Scorpio brings focus, commitment, and emotional fire. This pairing is powerful because both partners value intimacy that goes beyond the surface. Scorpio is willing to explore the darker corners of love, and Pisces is unafraid to join them there, offering compassion and forgiveness when shadows arise. Together, they create a relationship that is passionate, transformative, and unshakably loyal. With Cancer and Scorpio, Pisces discovers that emotional depth is not something to fear but something to celebrate, to expand, and to live within fully. Then come the Earth signs, Taurus and Capricorn. These partnerships bring balance to Pisces' sometimes fluid and dreamlike existence. Taurus, with its love of sensuality, beauty, and loyalty, offers Pisces a partner who grounds their imagination in the pleasures of the physical world. Pisces, who often lives in the realm of dreams, is reminded by Taurus of the joy of simple, tangible pleasures, a delicious meal, the comfort of touch, the stability of commitment. Taurus reassures Pisces that love can be both romantic and reliable, that passion does not have to burn out when anchored in loyalty. This union feels harmonious because it blends Pisces' emotional creativity with Taurus' devotion to lasting bonds. Pisces is inspired, while Taurus feels cherished, creating a relationship filled with warmth and security. Capricorn presents a slightly different but equally powerful dynamic. Pisces, often caught in waves of emotion and imagination, finds in Capricorn a structure that keeps them steady. Capricorn provides the long-term vision, the plan, the strategy, things Pisces often resists but secretly needs. In turn, Pisces teaches Capricorn to soften, to dream, to embrace intuition instead of always depending on logic. Where Capricorn builds walls for protection, Pisces gently lowers them with empathy. Together, they form a partnership that bridges practicality and imagination, blending dreams with the discipline to make them real. Capricorn's reliability helps Pisces feel safe, while Pisces' sensitivity teaches Capricorn that strength is not only about endurance but also about vulnerability. This is love that can grow roots while still reaching for the stars. And then there is Virgo, the opposite sign of Pisces. On the surface, opposites may seem incompatible, but in astrology, opposites often attract with a magnetic pull. Virgo's practicality, attention to detail, and methodical way of living may seem worlds apart from Pisces' fluid, intuitive, and dreamy approach, but it is precisely this contrast that makes their bond so compelling. Virgo provides grounding, showing Pisces how to navigate the complexities of everyday life without losing themselves in fantasy. Pisces, in return, helps Virgo soften their rigidity, reminding them that not everything can be measured or controlled. Together, they learn balance. Virgo grounds Pisces, while Pisces elevates Virgo. Virgo learns the beauty of surrender and trust, while Pisces learns the importance of discernment and boundaries. This pairing teaches both partners that true harmony doesn't always come from sameness but from complementing each other's differences. When Pisces connects with these signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo, the results can feel almost predestined. Each of these relationships has its own flavor, its own lessons, and its own gifts. With Cancer, Pisces finds nurturing comfort. With Scorpio, they find transformative intensity. With Taurus, they find sensual loyalty. With Capricorn, they find structured security. And with Virgo, they find a balancing counterpart. In these unions, Pisces doesn't have to fight to be understood. Instead, they can surrender, dream, feel, and love freely, knowing that their partner is right there with them, steady, loyal, and equally invested in creating a love that lasts. Zodiac signs that struggle in love. Not every connection in the zodiac is seamless, and when it comes to Pisces, certain signs find their depth both fascinating and confusing. What feels like soul-level connection to Pisces may feel overwhelming or perplexing to others, and what feels like freedom and clarity to their partner may seem like detachment or coldness to Pisces. These mismatches don't mean love is impossible, far from it, but they do highlight areas where extra patience, compromise, and understanding are required. Pisces, with their boundless empathy, can stretch themselves to meet others halfway, but if the balance tips too far, they may lose themselves in the process. Likewise, these partners may find Pisces alluring yet baffling, beautiful yet demanding, like a mysterious ocean that can either soothe or swallow whole. Take Gemini, for example. Gemini is an air sign that thrives on motion, curiosity, and conversation. They are restless explorers, eager to flit from one idea to another, one adventure to the next, rarely pausing long enough to dive into the emotional waters where Pisces lives. To Pisces, this can feel like a lack of depth. They may watch Gemini skim across the surface of life and wonder, do they ever stop to feel? Gemini, in turn, may find Pisces' emotional intensity heavy, even stifling. While Pisces wants to linger in deep conversations about feelings, meaning, and dreams, Gemini wants to keep things light, flexible, and fun. This contrast can create a cycle of frustration. Pisces feels unseen in their emotional world, while Gemini feels weighed down by the constant need for depth. Unless both learn to balance, Gemini by slowing down and Pisces by lightening up, the relationship risks unraveling in misunderstanding. Then there is Sagittarius, the freedom-loving archer. Independent, adventurous, and often fiercely protective of their personal space, Sagittarius thrives on exploration and spontaneity. To them, love is expansive and exciting, but it cannot come at the cost of their autonomy. Pisces, however, often craves closeness, emotional reassurance, and steady demonstrations of care. This can lead to conflict. The archer may see Pisces as too sensitive, too dependent, too in need of constant affirmation, while Pisces may feel unloved, even abandoned, when Sagittarius seeks solitude or independence. Pisces may interpret this independence as rejection, while Sagittarius may interpret Pisces' needs as a cage. Yet, the very differences that make this pairing difficult can also make it transformative. If Sagittarius learns that vulnerability is not weakness, and if Pisces learns that love can thrive even when it gives space rather than constant proximity. Without that balance, though, the relationship can leave both partners feeling misunderstood and unsatisfied. Aquarius presents another unique challenge. On the surface, Aquarius and Pisces seem like natural allies. Both are dreamers, idealists, seekers of a better world. But the way they approach life is fundamentally different. Aquarius operates through logic, ideas, and broad visions of society and humanity. They see the big picture, they analyze patterns, they strive for objectivity. Pisces, by contrast, flows from emotion, intuition, and personal connection. They feel first and think later, making decisions with their heart rather than their head. This mismatch can create misunderstandings. Pisces may find Aquarius cold, detached, or too rational, while Aquarius may find Pisces overly emotional, irrational, or unpredictable. The challenge lies in how each expresses care. Aquarius wants to improve the world, while Pisces wants to heal the soul. Unless they learn to value each other's approach, their relationship may be marked by constant misalignment, one partner craving feeling while the other seeks logic. And yet, even in these struggles, there is potential for growth. With Gemini, Pisces can learn lightness, laughter, and adaptability, while teaching Gemini the beauty of slowing down and diving deeper. With Sagittarius, Pisces can be reminded of the importance of independence, while teaching the archer the richness of vulnerability and emotional intimacy. With Aquarius, Pisces can expand their perspective to embrace broader visions of love, while showing Aquarius the importance of tenderness and the power of feeling. These relationships, though challenging, are not doomed. They simply demand more effort, more patience, and more willingness to bridge the gap between very different worlds. It is vital to remember that astrology never dictates destiny, it only highlights natural tendencies. Difficult pairings are not impossible pairings, they are opportunities. When Pisces meets these signs, the connection may not feel effortless, but it can still be meaningful, even transformative. With awareness, honesty, and commitment, any sign can harmonize with Pisces. The struggles are real, yes, but so is the possibility of turning them into strengths. Love, after all, is less about compatibility written in the stars and more about the choices we make, the compassion we show, and the effort we give. And Pisces, with their endless capacity for empathy, always has the potential to turn even the most difficult match into a journey worth taking. The growth Pisces brings into love. One of the most beautiful aspects of being with Pisces is the quiet, transformative growth they inspire in the people they love. It isn't growth forced by pressure or demanded through harsh lessons, but growth that happens organically, like a flower leaning toward the sun. Pisces has a way of softening the edges of life, of peeling back the armor we wear, and inviting us to experience the world through gentler eyes. Their presence alone can make you pause and reconsider what truly matters. With Pisces, love does not remain a simple routine of affection and companionship. It becomes an ongoing journey, an exploration of spirituality, creativity, and emotional depth that challenges both partners to expand, evolve, and see themselves in ways they never imagined before. Pisces teaches their partners how to see the world through a softer lens, and in that shift of perspective, growth begins. Where others might demand strength through resilience, Pisces demonstrates that strength can also come through tenderness. They show that kindness is not weakness but power, that forgiveness is not surrender but courage, and that vulnerability is not fragility but an act of extraordinary bravery. By living these truths, Pisces invites their partners to let go of cynicism, to embrace empathy, and to cultivate compassion as a daily practice. They become reminders that love, in its highest form, is not about control or conquest but about openness and surrender. With Pisces, vulnerability is not only accepted, it is celebrated. They encourage their partners to drop the masks and reveal the raw, unpolished parts of themselves. The fears, the insecurities, the unspoken dreams, Pisces wants to see it all, not to judge, but to honor. This kind of acceptance can be deeply healing. When someone finally feels safe enough to share their whole self, growth becomes inevitable. They discover new layers of their own heart, new depths of intimacy, and new possibilities for what love can mean. Pisces teaches that vulnerability is not the end of strength but the beginning of it, and through that lesson, their partners often learn to trust themselves and others more fully. Pisces also inspires growth through imagination. Their minds are filled with dreams, stories, and visions of what could be, and they share these with a contagious enthusiasm. When you are with Pisces, you start to believe in greater possibilities, in futures not yet written but already alive in your shared imagination. They push you to think beyond limitations, to dream beyond practicality, and to embrace creativity as a vital part of life. Whether through art, storytelling, music, or simply daydreaming together, Pisces awakens the dormant dreamer in their partner, reminding them that life is not meant to be lived in rigid lines but in flowing colors. But Pisces' greatest gift of growth comes in their unwavering belief in compassion as a real force of change. They don't just talk about kindness, they live it. They embody empathy in their actions, their choices, and their presence. Being with them makes you more attuned to the needs of others, more patient with flaws, more forgiving of mistakes. Pisces encourages their partner to see people not as problems to be solved but as souls to be understood. This perspective can completely reshape the way love is experienced, turning it into something not transactional but transformative. With Pisces, love is not just romance, it is healing. It is the evolution of two people learning to be better, not only for each other but for the world around them. And yet, growth is not a one-way street. Pisces themselves grow through love just as profoundly. Every relationship becomes a mirror, reflecting back to them the lessons they most need to learn. Through love, Pisces learns the importance of boundaries, an area they often struggle with because of their instinct to give endlessly. They discover that love is not about losing themselves in another person but about balancing their empathy with self-respect. With each relationship, they are reminded that giving to others must also include giving to themselves. Pisces also learns balance through love. They are dreamers, yes, but love teaches them the necessity of grounding those dreams in reality. Their partners help them see that imagination is powerful, but so is stability. That emotion is vital, but so is clarity. This balancing act doesn't diminish Pisces, it strengthens them, allowing their compassion to flourish without consuming them entirely. Finally, love gives Pisces the strength to honor their own needs while giving to others. Too often, they forget themselves in the process of nurturing their partner. But with the right connection, Pisces learns that self-care is not selfishness. They learn that love is most sustainable when both partners are nourished, when both give and both receive. This realization helps Pisces step into relationships as equal partners rather than silent givers, bringing balance to their natural inclination toward sacrifice. The growth Pisces brings into love, then, is layered and profound. They encourage softness in a hard world, vulnerability in a guarded world, imagination in a practical world, and compassion in a divided world. They remind their partners that love is not just about passion or companionship but about evolution, about becoming better, braver, and more whole together. And in return, love teaches Pisces the boundaries, the balance, and the self-respect they need to shine their light without burning out. To love Pisces is to grow, and to be loved by Pisces is to discover that growth itself can be the greatest gift of all. Final thoughts. To love a Pisces is to dive headfirst into an ocean where beauty and storms coexist, where light and shadow dance together, and where the depths are as enchanting as they are unpredictable. It is not a shallow experience, nor one that can be taken lightly. Pisces doesn't skim the surface of love, they plunge into its deepest waters, carrying you with them if you dare to follow. This journey is not always easy, but it is always transformative. Their love will test you, heal you, challenge you, and change you. It asks for your full presence, your full honesty, your full vulnerability. And if you offer these, Pisces will meet you with a devotion so pure that it feels like magic. At the heart of loving a Pisces is embracing their sensitivity as a gift rather than a weakness. Too often in a world that values toughness, resilience, and detachment, sensitivity is misunderstood or dismissed. But Pisces demonstrates that sensitivity is power. It is the ability to notice the unspoken, to feel the subtle, to connect with the invisible threads of emotion that weave between people. It is the courage to care when it might be easier to turn away, to feel when it might be safer to stay numb. To cherish a Pisces is to understand that their openness to the world is what makes them extraordinary. They see beauty where others see nothing. They find meaning in moments others overlook. They take the simplest experience, a glance, a song, a sunset, and turn it into a work of art, not because they are trying to embellish life but because they are attuned to the poetry already within it. Of course, challenges exist. To pretend otherwise would be to ignore the very duality that defines Pisces. Their idealism can sometimes make them fall in love with a dream rather than a reality, and when reality fails to meet the vision, they may struggle with disappointment. Their escapism, too, can frustrate partners who crave direct confrontation and practical solutions. Pisces may retreat into daydreams, stories, or solitude when the weight of conflict feels unbearable. And then there is their tendency toward emotional overwhelm. Their empathy is so vast that they often absorb the feelings of those around them, leaving them exhausted, confused, or vulnerable to mood swings. Yet for every challenge, there is a greater reward. Pisces' idealism may frustrate, but it is also what inspires hope, what keeps love alive when others would give up. Their escapism may seem like avoidance, but it is also the wellspring of their creativity, the source of their art, their dreams, and their endless capacity to imagine better futures. Their emotional overwhelm may sometimes feel heavy, but it also means that when you are in pain, they will never abandon you, never dismiss your feelings, never turn away from your suffering. They will sit with you in the darkness, holding your hand until you are ready to step back into the light. Pisces reminds us, in every moment of love, that perfection is not the goal. Love is not about flawless communication, constant stability, or the absence of conflict. It is about presence, the ability to stay, to be there fully even when things are messy or uncertain. It is about empathy, the willingness to step outside yourself and feel for another, to care so deeply that their happiness becomes part of your own. And it is about courage, the courage to merge souls, to risk heartbreak for the chance to experience intimacy that transcends the ordinary. In a world that often feels too sharp, too fast, too transactional, Pisces offers something rare and irreplaceable, a sanctuary of softness and devotion. They remind us to slow down, to feel deeply, to allow love to be not just a part of life but the center of it. With Pisces, love is not mechanical. It is alive, breathing, ever-changing, and ever-nourishing. It is not about what you gain but about what you share, what you create together in the space where two hearts meet. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what we all need. In a time when so much feels uncertain, when so many walls are built between people, the love of a Pisces reminds us that tenderness is still possible, that devotion still matters, and that even fleeting moments of true connection are worth everything. To love a Pisces is to surrender to the ocean of the heart, to trust that even in the storms, there is beauty, and that in the depths, there is truth. And for those who are willing to dive, the journey is unforgettable.